We're talking to Ransom, who's calling in from California.
Yeah, Dan, I think last.
Whoa!
Oh,
Holy shit!
I think last time I talked to you, we were talking to somebody who isn't a god but plays one on TV.
Yeah. Well, Ransom, welcome to the show. I didn't even get to finish introducing you, and you were like just jumping right in. So that caught me off guard. I'm not gonna lie, but hey, welcome back. What's going on, Ransom?
Well, I wanted to talk about the recently declassified videos of unidentified aerial phenomenon that we've seen from the Navy, from trusted sources that are showing things that not only the military is saying that they are not making any of this stuff. They're like not saying that, no, we're not going to confirm or deny this. Like, nope, that's not us. And we find it highly unlikely that any other foreign technology has come this far.
Yeah. So just some context for people who aren't aware. In May, I believe it was, the Pentagon released declassified footage of UFO. I think they called it, I can't remember if they called it a UAP or a UFO.
They called it a UAP. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they called it UAP, but it's from the Pentagon. This isn't like some random YouTuber or some random, guy on the internet with a video. It's like, no, this is from the Pentagon and we don't know what this is. So that's really cool and very fun. And of course, people in certain communities will take that and just go with it. But of course, the Pentagon isn't saying, oh, this is aliens. They're just saying we have unidentified aerial phenomenon. And that's pretty much what they'll always say, I think. But I don't know.
Well, they're not. So it's not just a matter of they're saying that it's unidentified. It's the fact that they're saying that we are not doing this. And we doubt that any foreign technology is advanced enough to pull this off. So that leaves us with two plausible explanations.
Okay.
So I would just like to say the unidentified flying object means that it is unidentified, correct? So that would mean I don't deny that the Pentagon doesn't know what these things are. They are an unidentified flying objects, but you were saying, maybe and quite likely and probably a couple times. And you just kind of admitted that the Pentagon never said that it couldn't be some sort of earthly technology. It couldn't be from another country or society that may have some sort of technology that maybe we are unaware of. The whole term unidentified is that it is unidentified.
Doubtful that it's foreign technology.
Right. So it's still possible though.
Right, but not plausible.
The term unidentified. So are you assuming that it would have to be either human technology or extraterrestrial technology? Is that what you're saying?
No, actually, I'm saying that it's probably not human technology.
And how do you know that?
I don't know it. I'm Dan and the rest of the ACA team introduced me to skepticism, so I keep my doubts up. So I make sure that if I'm trying to say something, that I make sure that I'm not speaking certainties, and I take those caveats. Even if I think something's right, I'm going to take the caveats of I might be wrong.
Okay, so do we have any other examples of extraterrestrial technology at the moment to compare these unidentified flying objects to?
Oh, I know. Well, I wish I had a better camera. I wish I could afford to get a better camera, because if it were with satellites, I don't think that two satellites moving in opposite directions would look like they're moving the same speed just because of the Earth's rotation. So if we've got two satellites that are intersecting with each other at almost the same speed, it leads me to believe that one of them isn't a satellite.
Yeah. So just going back to this, if you don't mind, unless Calvin, you had something else.
No, go ahead.
Like this particular event that's happened, I didn't really actually cover this on Truth Wanted. I think I planned to talk about it, and then I never actually talked about it. But this was actually something that the Senate met on, the U.S. Senate met on. No, I think I did mention it briefly. The first time this has happened in like 50 years, where they've actually just straight up were just like, hey, we need to talk about this, like what's going on here. And apparently enough people voted to make it happen. So basically these UAPs are reported, and there's over 100 of them, are all from the U.S. government. Part of it's from the Pentagon, part of it's talking about from like Navy intelligence and stuff like that. And they're all like pouring over this data. And they basically are saying, well, this isn't like, we don't know what this is. They're not necessarily saying it's extraterrestrial in origin, but we don't know what this is. The interesting thing is, like, the U.S. government is not the only government in the world that actually is looking out for UAPs. China has a commission where they are looking at UAPs. There's other countries that are looking at UAPs. Some of it are looking at some of the same data, if I'm not mistaken. So that's really interesting to say that there's major political powers at play that are also admitting that they don't know what it is. Does that necessarily lead to the conclusion that it's extraterrestrial in origin? Maybe, but I don't think that's even the confident explanation of U.S. intelligence. Now, before I go any further, let me be clear. I don't trust the U.S. government in telling me whether or not it's aliens or not. Okay? If they found out it was aliens, yeah, they're going to cover that shit up. I'm going to be real with you.
100%.
I don't think that,
yeah.
100%. Are you fucking kidding me? Like,
do you have any idea how much the suicide rate would skyrocket if Christians found out that we weren't alone in the universe and that we've been visited? Like, Christians would be murking themselves off just out of the like cognitive dissonance.
There is that too.
Everything
Ransom.
they've been told being a lie.
I'll tell you this. I talked to other skeptics who are like, oh, well, if these major sources aren't confirming things, then it must not be. That's a BS way of thinking about things in general. Okay, just not talking about aliens for a second. You can look at history books and talk about what the CIA has done in other countries, like overruling democratic regimes with people putting in their own political.
You can't talk about what the CIA does if you don't want to get demonetized.
Well, there's that, but I don't even care about that. I'm just saying, like, yeah, governments work in secret. I think that's the biggest pet peeve I have with when I talk to other skeptics about this, when they're like, oh, well, you should just say whatever government reports. No, that's not a good way to do it. There's outside councils that have determined a lot of the truths that we know about the CIA and other government bodies, not just in the US, but worldwide, that have acted in, clandestine operations and stuff like that. Okay. Like, that's how we know. It's not because, oh, everything they do is a lie. That's not true either. But there's other more legitimate ways in which you find this information. The thing that's crazy about this is that this is coming from direct military intelligence from the US. And this is them being interviewed.
Yeah, these are people who are risking their careers to say this.
They have to. This is being recorded for the public, and so they're going to say what's going to be best for the public. They may not say everything that they actually know in what they interview. I don't know the full legal extent of how the Senate can get them to say what they need to say. I'm not an expert in that. What I do know is that everything that we currently know about how aliens would work means it would have to be a technology that's beyond our understanding right now for them to just come and visit us and then just peace out. So I still, even after all that, would have to say that, yeah, it's probably government technology that we're looking at from human nations, probably not extra human in origin. That is still where I lean towards, but I guess I have to be open to the possibility of otherwise it being it, right? Even if it doesn't make much sense, but I still.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
I watched a movie.
Yeah.
No, you can go ahead,
Ransom.
Ransom.
Movie, and I don't want to talk about who did the movie because they're a criminal. I don't want anything to do with them personally, so I'm not going to promote them. But when I was watching this movie, I had a flashback, not of a memory, but of just a feeling. And the only thing that I could actually remember was the smell of dry metal.
Okay. All right.
So what does that mean?
What this conversation took a turn. What does that mean, Ransom? What do we do with that information?
either my head's making things up, either I watched the movie and I was like projecting, or I actually have some type of memory of being there. That's the two explanations. Either my head was making things up, or I actually have a memory of being there.
So what do you think?
Yeah, what do you think? That's good way to go.
I honestly don't think that I could project a smell like that, because like smell is directly linked with memory, stronger than any other sense. And I don't think I would be able to make up a smell from something on a screen.
So have you ever smelled metal before? Like, I know it's kind of a weird question, but I mean, you know, I don't know. It's, have you ever smelled metal? Like, because metal does kind of have its own kind of sense, right?
I'm a loud smartass. I've been punched in the mouth more times than I can count. I know exactly what metal tastes and smells like.
Okay.
I don't doubt
wouldn't
that
mean that you have that memory of the smell retained, and so it would be technically possible for you to subconsciously, remember that.
But like, it was just the interaction, and when I started seeing like common themes was when I got the smell. It wasn't from like it wasn't like from watching Fight Club and remembering the taste of blood in my mouth. This was me smelling like the air just smelled like dry metal, and that's the only memory that I have.
But that could mean anything.
Yeah.
That could mean anything. That doesn't have to do anything with UFOs.
Yeah, because Ransom, this is kind of this is an anecdotal type of experience.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
I understand that completely.
Better?
Yeah.
Well,
why aliens? But why it could just be maybe you were on a ship, or maybe you were in a car, or maybe you were someplace else. Like, why does it have to relate to an alien experience?
The lack of humidity. Like, I could smell the dry. I don't know how to explain smelling the dry, but I could smell the dry.
So it was dry smelling, therefore aliens?
It was dry, it was metallic. It was it's a smell that I don't remember ever smelling. But I can only sense it in that flashback. And I don't even know if it's a flashback. I can't confirm that it was a flashback, because like I said, my mind might have been just making stuff up. But the fact that I could smell something so specific that I was completely unfamiliar with before.
Yeah. Ransom, I'm sorry. I'm just having a hard time connecting the dots between this dream / vision that you may have had and it equating to aliens. I'm just having a hard time making that connection.
Yeah, me too.
Well, it would be a room where they needed to collect water, where somebody would need to collect water vapor from out of the air. That's like that's my hypothesis. That's my idea. I'm not confirming anything. It's just that like what I felt and the smell that I remembered would be as though somebody was trying to pull all the water vapor out of the air.
Brett, so I know you said that you watched this show and I appreciate that, and you become a better skeptic. I'm sure you're familiar with the term Occam's razor. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. The explanation that requires the least amount of assumptions is usually the right one.
Yes. And using Occam's razor here, right? Like the amount of assumptions that I'm hearing, it's like, well, I have the smell, and the only way that this could be made is if water vapor was taken out from this room. But we're talking about a memory that you don't actually. Well, I know, but we're talking about a memory that you don't even actually have, right? Like we're already just building assumption after assumption in order to even come close to this conclusion. Whereas your brain just probably got confused for a second while you were watching a movie, I think is like the one with the least amount of assumptions to be made there, right? Like I get like smells are like very much tied to memory. There's a lot of interesting, conversations about that. And I do think that's a very weird experience. I'm not going to be the first one to say, well, I think this is what happened. But I also know that people just have weird experiences sometimes. And I don't know if it has to mean anything. I don't know. Like, I think if we're just saying this is the only thing and there was nothing else that happened to you, that's not enough for me to conclude that it's anything more than just a weird experience. I think you have to point to something else,
Well,
Like if I have a dream
Yeah,
that
it's not
I,
just
was in
that.
an alien ship, does that mean that, the alien ship was real? If I had a dream that I was laying on a table and there were gray aliens wearing party hats standing around me, I mean, does that mean that it was real and that it was possible or
Can you
plausible?
smell in a dream?
Yeah,
Can you
maybe.
develop a completely new smell that you've never smelled before in a dream?
But you admitted that you've smelled metal before.
Right, but any metal that I've smelled always had some kind of humidity surrounding it. It was the combination of the metal smell and the absolute zero humidity dryness of the air.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just a smell.
Yeah,
I don't know why that has to be aliens.
I don't know. I don't know if we're really going anywhere here.
I don't know, Ransom. I'm
Like-
sorry. I feel like we failed you here, but what else do you want us to say? Do you want us to confirm that, yeah, this is probably it has to be the best explanation? Because that wouldn't be honest. I don't know.
No,
know
I'm
what you want.
expecting you to disagree with me. That's what the whole show's about. I'm expecting you to.
I do.
Yeah, well, we disagree. I mean, that's it, man.
Welcome.
I don't know, Ransom. This conversation went a different turn from when we first talked.
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
I do. We do have to get to some other callers. I do appreciate you calling in and talking to us, Ransom.
Yeah, thank you, Ransom.
And sharing it, because I did mention, I think I did mention it earlier a few weeks ago, but we didn't really talk about it. The U.S. Congress talking about the UAP stuff, that's not just, again, some blogger talking about one guy that claims to be an ex-Area 51 person says this is real. No, this is happening in the Senate. This was interviews from military intelligence officers and them talking about these documented phenomenon. That's a big deal. That's worthy of having a conversation about skepticism and talking about what does this actually mean. Again, I still lean that it's of human origins, but that's that's only because I don't know how it could be aliens. Honestly, we don't even know how we could explain how it could be. It doesn't mean that aliens are off the table. It just means that that's just not the best explanation I can personally go to right now. But
I don't deny that UFOs are out there, or UAPs, or whatever you want to call them. I don't deny that they're there and that there are photographs, albeit blurry or whatever. I don't deny that those exist. But as soon as someone tries to claim that they're extraterrestrial, that's when I get a little confused and need to ask questions.
It's just, there is and this, Calvin, as well, because this is a world you've looked into, but there's this whole con world of people who claim to be ex-military, who claim to have these experiences, who claim to have these documents. That's all BS. But all of this is, the crazy thing is, all of this is legitimate insofar as it is from an official source and we can look at it publicly and everybody can see it. And that's where I think that conversation needs to go. But we're also talking about literally hundreds of videos and photos that I don't have the time to look into each and individual one and say, oh, well, this is this and this is that. Maybe there are some people out there that do that, but that's not me. I have to keep moving on. So until they confirm that, this is some fucking alien bullshit, I'm just going to think it's humans. I don't know.
Yeah. I've been there, done that. I don't want.
Yeah. Right.